Hey Geminis, this is Leah with Half Moon Tarot. I will be doing your February 2024 reading. I've already meditated over the cards and asked that Spirit bring whatever is necessary for you to hear, for you to know, expect, and be prepared for. Coming into February 2024, you're coming in with the King of Coins, the Eight of Swords, the Page of Wands, okay? And I really think this month, Gemini, you are craving something more. Okay, you're craving something more from your life. You might be craving something more from your partner. You might be craving something more from your job. Whatever it is, it seems like you're craving more, but you're not making space for more. Okay, it seems like a lot of my Geminis are sitting in a space of shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? And reflecting on that with that Eight of Swords in this manner of, because eights are infinity signs, you are reflecting in this manner of a cycle, right? And we're not really learning from this cycle, we're just sitting in it, right? We're allowing those thoughts to overtake us. We're allowing those thoughts to make decisions for us. These shoulda, coulda, wouldas, these I'm not worthy thoughts or I'm not good enough thoughts, right? So we're allowing ourselves to be in this space of, rerunning these thoughts. And as we're rerunning these thoughts in our mind, we are allowing those thoughts to guide us into spaces, again, that we shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? The Queen of Swords comes in and it talks about these thoughts and how we need to cut the thoughts off at the neck, right? We need to cut the head off these thoughts because, metaphorically speaking, of course, right? But we have to be in a space of being open to not believing them, right? Because as much as you shoulda, coulda, woulda, you did do something, right? You did make a decision. And we have to embrace the decisions that we've already made, right? Because the Hermit card comes in and it talks about lessons and self-study and really being in a place of centering yourself in your own world so that you can figure out what that next move is, and being in a space of willing to learn from these rerunning thoughts so that we won't, one, if you find that it was a mistake of a choice, we won't make that mistake again. And we've learned that we won't make that mistake because we had to make the mistake in order to know that we won't do it again, right? Not running through these thoughts of, maybe you've never had kids and that makes you less of a person, and it doesn't, right? It just makes you a person that doesn't have kids, right? And when you're fed, everybody is fed. And when your bills are paid and everything is done the way that you want it to be done, it's done. But please don't allow the King of Coins and the Eight of Swords to run your life in a space of forcing things that do not fit. Okay. And what I mean by that is you are, like I said, you're craving more from something. So you're trying to make it, you're trying to have it happen, Gemini. And the more we force it, the more we push it away. Okay. So if you're craving peace, if you're craving more from your partner, if you're craving more from your job or even your kids, whatever it is, you can't force it. You have to let it be what it is, but you have to work on yourself, right? Once you start working on yourself and trying to stopping, and my goodness, my words are all jumbled up. Once you work on yourself and you start to change your own perspective of self, then everything else around you will shift and adjust, right? And the risk that you will have to take, because I know my Geminis, they're not very risky, right? On the outside, people think they're risk takers, but really they're not true risk takers, right? So the risk that you would take when you are doing this self-study, when you are worried about yourself, when you are trying to make a change that is better for yourself, the risk is that we tend to lose the things around us, right? Whether that be people or tangible things, any of the nouns, right? We tend to start, those things tend to start falling off, okay? And when that happens, it tends to put us in a place of being alone, right? And one thing I know about Geminis is that you don't like to be alone. But You are also not your best friend unless you've spent time with yourself alone, right? And that's where the self study is. And that's where we can go to study these thoughts that are rerunning in our heads. And we learn from those shoulda, coulda, wouldas instead of sitting in them, because we're craving something new, right? We're trying to attract in something new. And the only way to do that is to push out the old, okay? Because what's on the other side of that new is going to be way better than the old, okay? The last card that comes out is the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords has always been for me a little immature. Okay, a little immature in thoughts, a little immature in the words that they speak, but that's okay because he's learning, right? And this is your opportunity to learn yourself. And I really think, Gemini, this month is going to be all about learning yourself, learning about, what it is that you can offer to people from you, and not what other people can offer to you, so that it force fits what it is that you are craving. Okay, we are making a pathway towards what it is that we're craving. We're not pulling our craving into our current chaos. Okay, so with the Knight of Swords comes in and it says, hey, you're still learning. You still have to speak compassionately about yourself. And every decision that you make moving forward won't be the perfect one, right? But it will be the one that leads you closer to the craving that you are trying to attract. Okay? So, Gemini, this month, we are getting out of our own way in order for us to make space for our cravings, what it is that we're yearning for. Okay. And I don't mean cravings in like a sinful way. I mean cravings like I dream about it. I just need it. You find yourself saying, man, I just wish my world was a little bit more peaceful. I just wish I had a little bit more money. I just wish I had a better relationship with my kids. And instead of forcing your kids to have a relationship with you, you study yourself so that you can have a relationship with your kids. Instead of demanding that you get paid more, you find a way to create an income out of your passions, right? Because you are leaning on someone else to give you a larger check when it is your responsibility to go make that money, okay? If you're craving that peace, Gemini, it is up to you to create it. It is not up to peace to find you, right? Because really, honestly and truly, everything you want is next to you, right? You just got to make the time and the space to create a relationship with that thing in order to gain it. The crazy thing, Gemini, is what it is that you want is like 1 to 2 choices away, you know, maybe even 3 choices away. And because we're trying to force these things that don't fit, we can't see it. Your perspective has to change. The way you do things has to change. And I think that all starts with how you wake up in the morning, you know, being excited for this change, even if you can't see it, being excited to start the day because this change is coming. you know, we may not know what those steps are, and we may not know how it's going to occur, but just being in a space of this is happening for me, you know, I'll happily go to work if I knew a change was coming, I'd happily, start to work on this relationship if I knew the change was coming. If I knew that what I craved the most was going to find me because I was so excited about it, I would do whatever it took to get there, right? But I wouldn't force it. But I can't go into it with the idea that everything else around me is going to change in order for this thing to come in, and I don't change, right? So that it has to start with you. You have to be the one to usher it in, to say, hey, I want it. I want the peace. I want the relationship. I want the money, right? And if I have to change the way that I speak to myself in the morning, if I have to change the way that I have an outlook on my day, if I have to change the way that I deal with conflict, then so be it. All right. Geminis, that has been your February 2024 reading. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next month.